Obviously in stock cars you can just push your way through, so that is the difference. Is there's strategy, but you can also use your bumper as well. That is the beauty of it. A lot of the guys in the stock cars now, their rivalries have started way back from mini stock days where they weren't allowed to hit each other, and now they can, so it's kind of game on. I guess you kind of want it to be a hobby, but then it kind of does consume your life without you noticing. It's part of what we do and it's part of what our friends do, so it's something that we love to do, so it's kind of always fun. I guess when it gets to that point where you're not enjoying it or you're not looking forward to going racing, that's when you know to pull the pin or not to go out, because that's when something's probably going to go wrong. All good to go? Perfect, thank you. Right, got a band for you. So I went to Speedway as a kid and as a teenager quite often with just friends, and would sit there and watch, and yeah, I always wanted a mini stock. Like, I begged my parents for a mini stock, but I was already into horses, so it was always the old threat from Dad was, well, we'll sell the horse and I'll get you a mini stock, and obviously I already had the horse, so there was no way I was going to do that. Mum hates it, like refuses to come. Like, she's come a few times and she just absolutely hates it. Like, anyone gets near me, she's just terrified. Dad gets a bit more into it, and my sister loves it too. Like, she doesn't care if someone hits me, she thinks it's funny. It is nice sometimes when you go into the crowd, because you do miss so much of it when you are racing. You're focusing on your car, or I'm a team, so I've got my fiance Cam, or may as well say husband in this now. By the time it comes out, we got into it together, so we obviously were learning together, but he had come from a rally background, so he's been in motorsport basically his entire life, so he's a pretty nifty driver, I've got to admit. I don't often say that to his face though, but his head would get too big. There's always banter at home in the shed, or Saturday morning before racing is always, oh, I'm going to take you out tonight, or I'm going to put you in the wall, but it's never really going to happen, but it's definitely going to be a good way to sort any future arguments, that's for sure. It's probably the worst part, sitting on the dummy grid, to be honest. Like, I don't really get too nervous until I'm sitting on the dummy grid, because you know that you're about to go out and line up. I think my biggest thing is, I always think, don't bloody stall off the start, because it's going to hurt. And I don't know, I usually end up just closing my eyes and just thinking happy thoughts or singing to myself or something stupid, but I usually pull on my belts about 100 times on the dummy grid, make sure I'm in there tight. But yeah, that's probably the most nerve-wracking time, because you're sitting there by yourself, all your crew's gone, they're not there to hype you up anymore, and you're just sitting there waiting to go out the gate. So that's probably the worst part. You're just sitting there in your own thoughts for a minute, but once you get out there and the green light starts, you kind of forget about all of that kind of stuff, and you're racing. To be honest, you are focusing on what you're doing a lot, but sometimes if it's going shit or whatever, you're wondering what's going on with the car, or you try not glance up in your mirrors too often, because that can wreck your racing line or take the scrub a bit of time off. So you're just trying to focus on what's ahead of you and trying to keep moving forward, I guess. And obviously in these, if you see a gap and it's not quite there, you can equally make the gap be there. So just getting the elbows out and being confident enough to make passes and stuff like that.
She's calling it a night too, so unfortunately we've got cars coming off. The 73 car as well, also deciding Brenton Coleman that that's enough there, which is a shame. Brenton Coleman, our race leader for several laps, also needing to bring it in with a flat right tyre.
The track's pretty rutty, so I was getting kind of stuck in the mix there for a bit, so I thought I'll just play it safe and usually just knuckle down and keep going, but I thought with going away I don't really want to wreck too much gear or go through too many shocks and tyres, so we'll just chuck it off the back for the last one and just hopefully get some more consistent laps in and not break anything.
Having the team there makes a huge difference. Like we've got all our team, they've got their own little wee jobs that they go around and do, and I mean you can jump in the car and you know, you'll always ask, oh, has it been done? But you know every single time it has. Like, they'll go around, they'll make sure that you're filled up, you're ready to go, your tyre pressures are done, your wheel nuts are torqued, like all those basically jobs, your bonnet pins are in, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes over your head sometimes, and we are so lucky in that aspect that you can just sort of forget about it, and we've got such a high trust in our crew now that the car will be sorted and ready to go. Speedway is such a massive family and such a huge, like, everyone just jumps in. Like, if you come in and you've got damage, you can guarantee you're going to have other people's crews running up to help, and it obviously swings and roundabouts. You help them back when you can, but I think that's like a massive part of why I love it, is that the sportsmanship 99% of the time is so cool, and everyone just jumps in to help get you out there. You know, you walk through Speedway and you see people in the crowd bringing shirts, or like the other night my dad showed up and like he said there was a wee girl that pointed out that my dad was wearing, oh, that's one of Zoe's shirts, and she had hers on, and it's just so cool to see that support. It really does make you push a little bit harder because you know that there is so much support out there for you, and it's really cool. I think sometimes some of the guys are a little bit nicer to you on the track than if you're a male, but I don't really think it makes a heck of a lot of difference. I think nowadays it's come so much further. There's so many females, and you know, not stock cars here in Nelson, I am the only one, but travelling cars, there's so many girls in stock cars down south and up north now that it's such a common thing now, and it's just one of those things that's accepted. You don't really get any negative comments or negative feedback from it. Most people are pretty all for it, and I think people think it's actually, you know, pretty cool that a chick's out there in a stock car getting amongst it with the boys. Between all of us getting ready to go out racing, you do get so focused on that and you do miss out on a lot of the racing. So it is cool to just sit down sometimes and go around and just be a pig and eat the good food and sit down and watch some racing. And yeah, you can't go past the classic Speedway sauce. Like, if you don't like that, can't be friends. Like.
Name's George Sturgeon, one of the Sturgeon boys, third generation from when Grandad started, George Cross Sturgeon, from way back in 1945. This is our 50th year at the stock cars. We missed a 3-year term earlier on, but they came drizzling back and wanted us back again. And what actually happened, all the guys come down from Auckland Speedway down here, and they went into Auckland and they were going to everybody up there asking for the Nelson Speedway sauce. And us Sturgeons were the only ones that used it here. And then I had a meeting with them where they make the sauce. And I said, what's the problem? And they said, we want to change our name to Speedway Sauce. And I says, oh, that'll be because of all the guys that come from away and come here, because we're very close to the pits here, our food hut here. So we get all the races and all the guys out of the pits come down and get the hot dogs. So hence that's the change of the sauce to Speedway Sauce. But by Jove's, it's a very popular sauce.